This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Go to www.financiallyfit.business to grow your business profitably, build wealth, and analyze your monthly financial statements in less than 10 minutes a month. Thank you for joining us. Here's how we will help your business and you today. How does the person answering the telephone affect your company's revenues? A lot. If that person sounds like, hello, i.e. death warmed over, you'll experience many hangups and people not wanting to have their needs taken care of by your company. If you do it right, then you have a better chance of generating revenues. You'll recognize my guest today, Zach Garside of Power Selling Pros, because he's been my guest in the past. Now, we decided to do something different and have a little fun today. I asked Zach to invite a customer of his to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Todd Daganaar, who is the owner of Hometown Hero Appliance, has agreed to do that. So Todd and Zach, welcome to Contractor Sense.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. So let's talk about this. You know, it's always fun. I mean, for me, it may not be for you two, but it is fun for me to bring people back and have a customer with them so that we can, you can talk about what you do and everything else like that. But it's always so much better from a customer perspective, at least from my thoughts and beliefs. So Todd, talk a little bit about what Hometown Hero Appliance is, how you got started, and how you found Power Selling Pros.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. So Hometown Hero Appliance Repair has been in business since 1988. We do home appliance repairs, so like washers, dryers, dishwashers, refrigerators, things like that. And we've had a couple names over the years. As we've grown, we've had to adapt a little bit. So we started out in 1988. My grandparents started it at their kitchen table as Nebraska Washer and Dryer Service.
Oh my gosh.
And we made it about a year with that name and realized that there probably weren't enough washers and dryers to keep up with where we wanted to go.
Okay.
So we became Nebraska Home Appliance and we kept that name until this year, actually, but we've been expanding so rapidly over the past few years. We're centered in Omaha, Nebraska, but we expanded to Lincoln, Nebraska, which is about an hour away. We put up a new office in Urbandale, Iowa, so Des Moines, Central Iowa. And we just opened in Kansas City, actually in Overland Park, Kansas last year. So we had outgrown our name yet again. Those Hawkeyes and Chiefs fans in those other states weren't a big fan of the Nebraska.
Yeah, I'll bet they weren't.
Yeah. So it took a little bit to overcome, but you have to embrace change in order to grow. So that's what we've been doing. And when we see opportunities to make things better, we take them, which is how we got introduced to Power Selling Pros about 10 years ago, I think, Zach. It's been a while.
Yeah,
So,
at least 10 years.
So have you been working together for 10 years or did it take you a while to say, do I really want to work with these guys?
So we got introduced to Power Selling Pros maybe 2011 at an industry trade conference. And the thing about those conferences in the beginning, if you haven't been a part of them before, you go in thinking you know everything. You're like, I just want to see what all these other jokers are up to,
Yeah.
And you have your mind just blown wide open. You see all these things and you go, oh man, why didn't I think of that? Why am I not doing that this way? And that was a big catalyst for us. I grew up in the business. I've worked every job here, from answering the phones, which you never quite outgrow that one, to selling parts at our retail parts counter, managing. I've worked as a technician in the field. I've worked as a trainer. And in 2011 was when I purchased the business from my grandparents. And so that was right about when we ran into Power Selling Pros. And all I knew is I wanted to change everything.
Okay.
Nothing the same. The whole time you're working in a place, you're like, man, if I was in charge, you know what I'd do? Whatever they're doing, I wouldn't do. I'd change it all.
Yeah.
And
I've
we
heard that
encountered.
before.
Yeah. And, after a while, you realize why some things were the way that they were. And so some things you change back.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the ASTI, which was the Appliance Service Training Institute for United Servicers Association, now it's United Appliance Servicers Association, they had a trade show that year. And I think it was our first time going. And we met on the trade show floor, Brigham Dickinson from Power Selling Pros, and I forget who else was there. But the things that he had to say, just made a big impact. His personality, his way of speaking, his way of looking at the world. You immediately realize that this guy knows something. He has something figured out that the rest of us don't. And, then you do your due diligence after the fact to make sure that he's not just really good at the sales aspect, that he's got
yeah, they got the
training, the experience to back it up. And let me tell you, he does. In my years of training with Power Selling Pros, I did the phone training myself, just like their frontline CSRs, for probably 7 or 8 of those years. And I worked with Brigham directly. I worked with, other people in the organization, had different trainers. And I got to hear Brigham's calls, where he would talk to customers and, show all of his principles in action. But, at the time, I was a little put off by the name, Power Selling Pros. Nobody likes to think of themselves as a salesperson. But, and maybe they've softened it a little bit more, instead of just selling, it's book more calls, win more moments. And, that's what it did for us. It definitely changed the tone of the organization by having all of our CSRs in that training, accountable for what went on the phones, and, having the people who were in the management roles also going through that training. We were accountable every 2 weeks. If we didn't behave ourselves, we had to hear it on the phone, and we had to be asked, what we could have done better. And, I've had some very patient coaches over the years. We worked with Nathan for at least half of it, Nathan at Power Selling Pros, and he is a saint. And I'd listen to part of a call and I knew I didn't do something very well, or somebody got under my skin, and he'd say, "All right, how we doing?" I'm like, "Well, not well. So good, Nathan." But it was an organizational change. And when I acquired it, we had maybe 10 employees. And, for a service business, that's not small.
No.
At this point, I think we have about 55. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say a fair amount of our success has come from working with Power Selling Pros and keeping their principles in mind in the way that we talk to our customers and the way that we try to create those wow moments for our customers and go above and beyond.
Yeah, cool. All right. Before we take a break, Todd, if somebody wants to follow up with you, how do they find you?
I'm not hard to find, so obviously you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find, our company. It's Hometown Hero Appliance Repair. That's hometownhero.repair. And I'm just Todd, TODD, at hometownhero.repair. Always happy to talk, or call our main office number. But yeah, we love spreading the gospel. I've referred a lot of people to the Power Selling Pros over the years, and I've never had anybody come back and regret it.
Yeah, cool. Zach, we'll talk to you a little bit after break. Is that okay?
That sounds wonderful.
All right, we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense.
Are you one of the contractors who enjoys getting and analyzing your financial statements each month? If not, it's probably because you haven't taken the time to discover what your profit and loss statement and balance sheet are telling you. And you probably are not making good business decisions based on timely, accurate financial statements. You know you have to do something about this, but where do you turn? Ruth King's Makes Your Financial Statements Fun and Sexy online course. These easy to understand 4 sessions explain financial statements in English rather than accounting babble. You'll discover what your financial statements mean and how to analyze them each month. Then you'll have the info you need to spot minor issues and take care of them before they become major crises and run you out of cash. Enroll today. Click on the link in the show notes or call us at 770-729-0258.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm speaking with Todd Daganaar from Hometown Hero Appliance Repair, who started as Nebraska washer and dryer, grew from grandma and grandpa, bought the business, and is now over 55 employees, you said, I think, before the break?
Yeah, that's right, Ruth.
And attributes a lot of it to Power Selling Pros. So, Zach, you're up.
All right.
How much? Yeah, no, seriously, the question that was going through my mind is, as you are doing the training and recording the phone calls and listening to the phone calls, is that the most impactful thing that you do?
That's a great, wow, that's an interesting way to ask that. Yeah, it's the reason that I think people like Todd are successful in our program is because they have a service mindset. We work with a lot of companies that come in and want to solve an immediate problem, like increase our booking rate or increase the number of service agreements we can sell on the phone, or I need you to turn this CSR from about to get fired into 5-star superstar. And
Maybe she doesn't want to be 5-star superstar.
Well, maybe she just feels like you don't accept her and you're trying to change them. Todd, whenever I talk to Todd, I'm always really impressed and quite frankly blown away by just the service mindset. Like, we're going to create a great experience for the customer. We're going to do whatever it takes to grow, to improve ourselves. A service mindset, a growth mindset, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of impossible to not grow, to not get better when you possess those traits.
Yeah.
So yeah, the most impactful thing that we do is provide the accountability, listening to calls and providing personalized feedback on them. But the thing that leads to the most meaningful outcome isn't what we do. It's the way that people like Todd act on it and kind of frame their minds around how to be of service to a customer rather than to provide a service, which is actually something that I stole from you, Todd. Do you remember that conversation?
No, but whoever said it sounds really smart.
Did you get a royalty, Todd?
I didn't know. I did an interview with Todd like a year and a half ago, probably, where I was just asking. I had interviewed several of our clients to ask them, how have we changed your life and why is that important to you, basically. And one of the things Todd said was, we've kind of shifted away from I'm here to give you a service to I'm here to be of service. And I've used that, like literally that clip of you, I've played from stages all over the country in the year and a half since, because it's just so on point to what it takes to be successful with this.
Yeah,
I'm honored.
Absolutely. Ask for royalties, residuals.
If I was getting paid to be on those stages as opposed to paying for them, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely, from there. So let's look at it. I mean, I think, because I've got a lot of my clients who also use Power Selling Pros, and you know who they are, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But I think to them, the most impactful thing is actually listening to the calls, because they go, oh my gosh, I sounded like that, and that's really a situation where until you really listen to yourself, until you really listen to how you're coming across to a customer, I think that can be a night and day experience. It can be a, this is your wake up call type thing. And you guys do that really well.
Well, thank you. That's absolutely an impactful part of the program right there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, and I will not tell you who, you probably know who. I remember one CSR saying, I'm never going to say that, as we go through the scripts and things that really impact the customer and stuff like that. Do you know that she's saying it all the time now? She tells me the story and say, when I first listened to that, I said, I'm not doing that. And then she realized why it was important, and the light bulb went on.
Yeah.
So
that's me.
Yeah,
that's me.
I hear that at least once a week.
What, that I'm not saying that?
Yeah. Oh, that's too cheesy. I'm not going to say that. No, customers don't care about that. They don't want empathy. They just want the lowest bid. Yeah, I hear that all the time.
I don't think so.
when we started out with Power Selling Pros, the way that I answered the phone on a good day was, can I help you? And in that tone, I
Oh
did
my
not
gosh.
care
Yeah.
about helping them. At
Yeah.
this point, the way we answer our phones is, thank you for calling Hometown Hero Appliance Repair. This is Todd. How can I be your hero today? And I was not going to say that. That's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
customers love that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they eat that stuff up. It's amazing.
Well, if you think about it, the reason is when they call and they get that response, it is so different than they get from not every other one, but from 90% of all the other people and businesses that they call that really and truly do go, hello, like you're in
Mhm.
position rather than somebody who really wants to give them money. They forget who writes their paychecks. Don't get me
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
So it's really the customer who writes your paychecks, and doing it really, really well helps. So Todd, talk to me about the training now. I mean, I understand it's been a while. Do you still do the same every 2 weeks, or how does it work now?
So, as we spent more time with Power Selling Pros, we grew together. So when we started out, they didn't have as many, formalized levels and things like that like they have now. They figured out over time that once you have somebody that is really accountable to the principals, they do a consistently good job, not just on the calls that they know are being monitored, but with every customer, that you can hit a little bit more of a maintenance point where you maybe only meet once a month. And it also gives new CSRs a goal, that they want to be proficient. They want to go from, level 1 to level 2 and so on. And with those, they get introduced to new principles over time, so they're not overloaded at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Our first thing when you're starting as a customer service rep isn't to learn how to handle an angry customer, that's flying off the handle. We start with the basics.
Yeah.
Be positive, have empathy, say yes, and all these things. And then, you build to a point where you add all the complexity and making sure that you can convey everything you can do for the customer, and you become an expert. And then once you have that at a really good maintenance point, maybe you only meet with them once a month. And, if your performance, starts to change and you start to slack a little bit, maybe you go back to 2 weeks. We've even had points where, we had an employee that really needed the help. They were either going to move up or they were going to move out.
Mm-hmm.
And our coach, at no additional charge, said, I think I'd like to meet with that CSR every week just for the next month and see if we can get them back on track. And, let me tell you, things like that, it's a wow experience for us as too. I've been on the receiving end of a number of wow experiences from Power Selling Pros. One time when I tried to quit, because you're in a situation financially where we hadn't planned things well. We had a lot of expenses come up, and I was just calling every recurring subscription we had and saying, we're done, we're out. We lost more money last month than we've ever lost. We just need to plug the holes in the ship. And Brigham called me, and he said, tell me about what's going on. He empathized with me. And he asked me, how can I help? I'm like, well, I don't know. Do you have a money printing machine? I said, no, but what if we didn't charge you for next month? Would that give you time to get back on track? Or, I said, I don't know. I mean, a month probably isn't going to fix everything. Well, what if we defer some of it? Well, we'll just push things off. You let me know when things are at a point where you're ready. And in the meantime, we're going to make sure you can get there, because if you stop training your CSR staff, how are you ever going to get headed the right direction again?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Little things like that, they're beautiful.
Cool. Very good. Zach, final thoughts.
Yeah, Todd makes me think of, customer service is not just a department in the company, right? It's a state of mind. It's a way of approaching every interaction, every service, every project. It reminds me of contractors who sometimes hold on to things like the dispatch fee or the trip charge, as other contractors call it. And they say, nope, it's $89 just to come out, and we're holding to it. And I heard a phone call a couple of weeks ago on the show that I do, where this older woman, sounded like she was maybe in her 70s or 80s, called in about 2 weeks after having a new water heater installed in her home. And she was very upset, emotional about it. She just had it installed and now there were problems again. And she was confused. Like, she doesn't know how water heaters work.
Sure.
So she calls the company and says, I need somebody to come out here and fix this for me. It should be under the warranty. And the CSR just said, nope, we're not going to take care of that. It's going to be at least $89 for us to come look at it, and your warranty doesn't help you here. And you could just hear the customer, like, not just upset, but scared. There's fear. And the CSR just had no empathy for it. And I went to that company and I said, why would you do this to the customer? Like, give me the business case.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, well, man, we gotta make that $89 so now we're going out to somebody who's serious. We got to hold on to that dispatch charge. Is how we filter customers. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's garbage. Like, that customer's afraid. You could have earned loyalty, love, a relationship, word of mouth. Instead, you made an enemy, all in the name of $89. Like, you got to contractors and businesses in general need to let go of their fierce grip on bureaucracy and processes and systems and rules, and trust and inspire their people to do what's best for the customer.
Absolutely.
Trust them. Let them earn your customers' love, not just your customers' business,
Absolutely. So Zach, give us the Power Selling Pros website, please.
powersellingpros.com/free is where people who hear us on podcast can go. You just go to that, and it's special gifts for people who find us on a podcast.
Terrific. Todd, thank you so much. Zach, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thanks, Ruth.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing that you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.